Hi everyone, my name is Laura, and this week I'm teaching the OLI Summer Challenge Organization Workshop. This workshop counts towards the OLI Summer Challenge Leadership Certificate, so make sure to watch until the end and complete the challenge. Being organized with your time, your belongings, your responsibilities can be tough, but as you go through school, go to work, set goals, help your family and community, and move towards your future, having a set of organizational tools that work for you can contribute to your success. In this session, you'll first hear from some folks that work at RBC talking about some of the organizational tools and strategies that work for them. Then, after that, I'm going to show you two simple but effective and creative strategies for organizing your time and tracking goals. All right, let's first hear from our friends at RBC.
Hi guys, my name is Jennifer. Some of you may recognize me as a mentor at OLI. I work for the Royal Bank of Canada. I am a senior manager under the Financial Crimes Department, and a very large component of my role relies on organization. So I'm going to share with you a couple tips today that I use daily just to keep me structured and allow me to achieve my goals. So number one, I make my bed every morning. Now, I know some of you are going to say that sounds ridiculous, but my thoughts on it are this. It's a small accomplishment first thing in the morning that really encourages you to want to go forth and tackle other tasks throughout the day. So if you don't believe me, give it a try. If it doesn't work, at least you have a tidy bed, and I'm sure it will make your parents happy. Number two, I write a list. So I like to write my list in the morning. That seems to be when I am most productive. My brain juices are flowing at its best. If you're a night owl, write it at night. I like to document my list on a whiteboard. That just gives me a very large visual in your face and your tasks noted on hand. If you don't have a whiteboard, a solution to that is if you have any old glass picture frames. This can be a mounted frame, this can be a desk frame. Take that picture out behind the glass, turn it over. It should be a blank canvas. If not, stick some cardboard under there or, plain paper. And you can use that glass as a whiteboard. So how I like to structure my list is I always like to date my list. So these are my tasks that I have on hand for July 14th. So all my priorities will always go at the top of the list, and they will always be written in a different color just to stand out from the rest of the list. Now, I like to tackle my priorities again first thing in the morning because that seems to be when I am most productive. Now, I would be mindful of when you are putting your priorities down that time management comes into play. So if you have a couple of priorities that do take up a lot of time, make sure you're cognizant of that. So if you have one for the morning, maybe put another one towards the afternoon. And this way, it just gives you that time to utilize your best energy, right? You always want to be at your full capacity when you were working on a time-consuming project, right? My other great tip is I like to cross anything off that is completed throughout the day in a different color. So this just allows me to see at the end of the day how productive I was. Do I have any carryover for tomorrow? Also, it just gives you a sense of accomplishment. So those are my two tips that I use daily, and I think that really keeps me structured. I would also advise that when you are working on a task, work on one task at a time. Put your focus and energy into that one task at a time. Don't try to do task number 2 and 3 unless it overlaps and you can multitask. Most often I can't. I have to focus on one task at a time just to give it my best effort. And besides that, put away your phones. When you guys are doing a project, working on an essay, put your phones away. Unless you need it to research, fine. But I find that, having those distractions laying around as well will impede my productivity. So just food for thought, but I hope these have helped.
Hello, my name is Dawood and I work for our AML team within the Royal Bank of Canada. Within the AML department, we make sure that our clients are not conducting any criminal transactions or any suspicious activity within the bank. You can kind of call us like the police of the bank, making sure that everybody's abiding by the rules. It's very important to stay organized within my role as I talk to a lot of people and I write a lot of reports, and I have to make sure that I know what's going on each day because I have assessments due every day and it's really hard to keep track of all of them. I'm not really big on using agendas. I usually write things on my agenda and then never look at it. So I'm the type of person that needs to see my due dates in front of me every single day displayed. And what better way to do that than to use sticky notes? I paste sticky notes all over my room and mostly my little table, which I will show you, to remind myself every single day of what is due. This way, whenever I'm just sitting behind my computer and browsing or watching YouTube videos or just hanging out, I can always have my agenda right in front of me telling me what's coming up due. So as I wake up in the morning and I'm eating my breakfast here at my work table, I don't have to open my agenda and flip through it to see what's going on. I have a little summary of my day. Let me show you what that looks like. So this is a little picture frame that we used to have that I don't use anymore. And in here you can see that I had a big project that was assigned to me on June the 8th. I decided this project is going to take me several days, so I had to break it up into little sections. You can see these little red dots. 1, 2, 3. They're all labeled as different parts of my project. And so here I got my assessment. I have my assignment to do. And I gave myself, on June the 10th, you should review your assignment and start writing the basic details. And then I gave myself task number 2. Task number 2, on June 15th, I'm going to do a report on the transactions. I'm going to review all my clients' transactions there. I split it up into section 3. On June 23rd, I'm going to start making my graphs and tables after I've gathered all my information. And then my due date on June the 30th, task number 4, is to submit my final report. So I write my report and I submit it then. And this is how I was able to break up a big report into smaller pieces. It's always really helpful to break up very big assignments or projects into small little chunks instead of working away at them 10 hours every single night right before the due date. So whenever I have a big project just like the one I showed you, I break it up into little sections so that way they're a little bit more manageable and I don't have to be doing the exact same project all night long. Another way my sticky notes come in handy is I can stick them onto my computer. So as you can see here, these are the notes I took today throughout my work. And one says, I have to ask some questions to my customer and I have to call Amanda, one of my colleagues. So once I'm done with these, I'm going to take it off and paste it on my board. And I know I got a meeting with Amanda. Or, here's another. I got some questions to send to my client. There you go. And as I look at this, if we zoom you in a little bit, you can kind of see that these are all related to different things. And I use colors. These might not stand out as well for you, but I used colors to try to identify of what relates to what. So all the blue stuff, these are things that are personal to me. So not really work, like this is a movie I want to see. Here's a book I want to read. Here's another interesting book. I was going camping, so that was really cool. So I write myself a little notes. The red stuff is all meetings I gotta do or work I really gotta get done. And then anything green related is other work things that I gotta get to, but they're not as important. Lastly, you'll see this big blue sticky note I have in the corner. My blue sticky note there is more of my extras throughout the month of like, what do I really want to get done? So for example, here, I talked about how like, I want to talk to my manager about, taking a vacation or going on a trip, or maybe I have to finish some things at work that I didn't get done before, but I don't have to get them onto my regular schedule. So those are like my extra things I like to get done. By using sticky notes in different colors and sticking them everywhere, and you don't have to stick them on a picture frame like I did, you can stick them on your door, on your window, on your computer, pretty much anywhere that you walk by every morning, and you're going to see them every single day. By reminding yourself every single day of what you have due for the next month, you won't have to keep on checking your schedule. It will just stay in your mind. Oh, and by the way, one of the most satisfying things about all of this is, for example, I handed in this report not too long ago. You rip that tag off, you crunch it, and you go, touchdown! It's such a good feeling. Trust me, I know it seems silly, but it's a great feeling to tear down a sticky note, to say you finished it, and to just slam dunk it in the garbage. Well, I hope that's helped some of you guys. Have a great day. Thank you for taking the time to listen.
Hi, my name is Jessica Bello. I work at RBC. I'm a senior manager in the financial crimes department, and I want to share with you something very simple that I do to organize myself. I'm sure you've heard it before from a lot of people, but the thing that I do almost every day to keep track of what I need to do is as simple as making a list. I do have a couple of tips that work really well for me. The first one is I don't do just one version of the list. I start with a very general list of the things that need to be done, and I usually then go to a second version in which I try to break down every single item as much as possible. I'm sure you know, for every assignment, every little project, there's always many steps that need to be taken. So I like that my list includes as many as possible because that will make me keep track of what needs to be done specifically. And then I try to organize it. I organize it throughout the day or the week in the way that best works for me. So I try to make it in a sequence, and for me at least, I try to do every morning or in the mornings the things that need like analytical or attention to detail type of thing. And throughout the day, I try to plan for meetings, calls, research, things that are more dynamic. And that's what works for my schedule. So my list would be very specific and it will be chronological. So at the end of the day, it's not just a list of things that need to be done, it's actually a plan. And it will help me both keep track of the things that I need to do and organize my day. So this is an example of personal things. I usually start with a very general list of things that I want to do, and then when I'm actually trying to plan for it, I break them down in all the little steps that I need to take, and I organize them in a sequence, right? So I'll know that I'll start with this and I'll move down my list. I also like to use different colors to see what I've checked and see the things that I haven't completed that I need to move to a next list. But that's just personal preference. I also really prefer them like on paper format more than electronic.
Hello everyone and welcome to my organizational tool tutorial, which is not really a tutorial since I bet most of you already know this by now. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Aida Budahir and I work for RBC. I am a case manager for the Wealth Management Enhanced Due Diligence Group. Yes, I know, it does sound fancy and I like it. In a nutshell, my role is to investigate and inquire how our very rich clients obtain their fortune. And I do have to admit, sometimes I do cry when I see their bank account and I compare it to mine. But anyways, we're not here for that. I'm here to try to explain how I somehow organize my time when I'm at work in order to be productive, efficient, and just respond to inquiries in a timely manner. Also, keep in mind that what works best for me might not be as efficient for you. At the end of the day, you need to find your own groove to see what works best for you. Either you're in school, you're at work, or even in personal life. So this is my to-do list and how it looks like. If you are using Outlook, you can find it under My Task to-do list. It's very neat, organized, and easy to read, and most importantly, it shows what you have planned for the day, week, month, year in a priority manner. I'm sure you already know this, but in order to create a new task, you just right-click and press New Task. This way, you are in the process of creating a new task for yourself. You can choose the subject, the start date, the due date, status, priority, completion, etc. And also you have multiple options here up in the bar as well. So those options, that can help you create what suits you best at the end of the day. Plus, you can add important notes that can easily indicate what you need to do moving forward. When the task is complete, you mark it complete, save it, and close it, and that's it. On to the next one. I find this tool very handy as it's very visual and easy to understand and modify. And I really hope you can, find this tutorial as well helpful. And in the end, I just want to say thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best and good luck moving forward.
Hey everyone, Laura here again. I would just like to again thank our friends at RBC for sending in those videos. Now that you've had an introduction to a few different organizational tips and tricks, we're going to focus in on some strategies we'd like you to try. Picture this scenario. You have a list of things you'd like to do and have to get done during your week in the summer. Chores, fun activities, maybe some physical activity like sports or dance, and family and community events. Or you can think about your schedule during the school year. You have a full day of classes, homework, extracurriculars, and other responsibilities. It can be difficult to know how your to-do list can fit into your schedule, but that's where block scheduling comes in. This is an organizational strategy that allows you to identify your priorities, divide up the time you have in the day, and then figure out where your to-do items fit. And what's great about this strategy is that it doesn't take any special books, tools, technology, or materials to use. You can go from an organizational system that might look like this to something that looks more like this. Let's get into the system and see how it works. So for block scheduling, the first thing that we're going to focus on is defining your priorities. What do you actually want to get done? What categories are you interested in exploring? So that is the first step. And since it's summer, we're going to think about the priorities you might have over the summer, which might be different than during the school year. And so we're going to think about 4 different priorities for creating this schedule. And those are going to be move, learn, help, and relax. And they're just exactly what they sound. Learn could be to learn a skill, to learn a song, to read a book. Move could be any kind of physical activity. Help is maybe your regular chores, helping a neighbor, a family member, anything to give back to your community. And relaxing is exactly as it sounds, things you'd like to do in your leisure time. So after that, you're going to define your blocks. And your blocks are just simply how you're going to divide up the hours that you have in the day. So you're going to think about, what time do I want to wake up? What time do I want to go to bed? For our example, we're going to start early in the morning, but you can make the blocks anything you want. So we're going to do 6 to 9 a.m., 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., 3 to 6, 6 to 9, and then the evening block, which will be 9 to 11. Now, it's important that these blocks are not too short and too long. If they're too short, you might feel too frantic, like you're jumping from one activity to the next. A 3-hour block allows you to really get into your activity, but also gives you flexibility for things to take less time or to take more time. So I would recommend creating 3-hour blocks. And then think about, what is my energy like throughout the day? So for example, learning takes a lot of focus and energy. So maybe I'll think about, okay, I have a lot of energy between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. So I'm going to notice that and think about that when I'm choosing where I put my activities. And between 3 and 6, I can sometimes feel tired or restless or easily bored. So I might want to do something that gets my blood pumping and gets me moving. And then between 6 and 9, I'm feeling social. So maybe I want to make sure I'm connecting with friends or family at that time. So I'm thinking about my energy and how I want to match my energy with my priorities and activities. And of course, I'm sleepy from 9 to 11 p.m. All right, so once you have done that, your third step is to create a to-do list. And so this list is going to be tasks that you might need to do every single day, but it can also be things you're just hoping to get done, responsibilities you have, or anything special you'd like to accomplish. So I am just making up a random list of things that might be on someone's to-do list. So finish book, go for a jog, do some push-ups. Remember, I'm thinking about those categories. So it's my priority to spend time learning, spend time moving, spend time helping, and spend time relaxing every day. So along with regular everyday things like making my bed or eating breakfast or taking out the garbage, I'm also thinking, what am I hoping to get done in those categories this summer? So a podcast might be part of learning. Helping my grandfather fix his porch is part of helping. Making breakfast, that is just a regular everyday task. Volleyball is a chance to move. Watching a new Netflix show is part of relaxation. So you're going to go through and think of everything you could possibly be doing. And don't worry if it feels overwhelming at first. The most important thing is to just let everything come out of your brain onto paper. Once you have that, you're going to take a look at your list, and you're going to find a marker or pen in a different color, and anything that's an everyday task, an everyday item, just put a red dot beside it. So that could be either things you're hoping to make an everyday habit or things that are normal, habitual things like eating breakfast, making your bed, or whatever chores or responsibilities you might have. All right, then after that, it is time to actually set up your template. So far, you've taken a piece of paper and a pen or a marker, you have defined your priorities, you've set up your time blocks, and you've made a to-do list. So now it's time to bring it all together. So what I've done is I created one on just a piece of paper. I took a ruler or any straight edge, and I just divided my page into as many time blocks as I defined in my first step. And so for this organization system, you have one page per day. So I'm putting the date at the top, July 10th, 2020. It's a Thursday. And so I'm just looking at one page at a time. And then along the side, I'm going to put my blocks and I'm going to name them so I have a sense of what kinds of activities or priorities I'm going to put into each block. So morning is 6 a.m. to 9, and then my learning block is 9 a.m. to 12. And then from 12 to 3 is going to be my helping block, which can also include errands or appointments or other responsibilities. And then from 3 to 6, I'm going to have my move block. It's a time of day when I might feel tired or restless or bored, and it's a great time to get active and do something that's not so sedentary. And then I'm going to have dinner, which we could also call a social time between 6 and 9, when I'm going to eat and hopefully connect with my family or friends. And then, of course, I'm going to relax between 9 and 11, hoping to get to bed by 11 in this schedule. If that doesn't happen, though, it's totally fine. So the next step is, of course, to fill in the schedule. So now that you have created the template, you actually have to take the items from your to-do list and decide where are they going to go. So I'm going to flip back and look at my to-do list for the week, everything I'm hoping to get done in the week, and I'm going to figure out where does it fit? What do I want to accomplish on one day at a time? So this is my Thursday. So my morning block, I'm going to have breakfast. I'm going to drink water. I'm going to make my bed. It is totally great and fine to put things into your schedule that are normal everyday activities. In fact, checking them off can feel really good. I'm going to do some dishes. I'm going to read a bit of my book and go for a walk. Then in my learning block, I am going to do some of my guitar practice if I'm learning guitar online. That could be also listening to a podcast. It could be reading a book. Anything you're working on learning, things that expand your mind, could go a learning block. And of course, that doesn't have to be a book or an online tool. It could be that you're going to see someone to learn something from them. Now, next in my next block, my helping block, I'm going to help my grandfather. I'm going to have lunch. It's important to write your meals in there. And I'm going to look at any other errands or things that might go into a helping category. But I'm anticipating that helping my grandpa could take a while, so I'm going to leave that. So then moving on to my move block, I'm going to jog, I'm going to shower, I'm going to do push-ups. And then, it's also okay that if you don't have 3 hours of stuff to fill in, you can just leave your time empty and see what fills it. During dinner block, I'm going to help with dinner. I'm going to catch up with my family. This could also be time to catch up with friends, because when I was laying out my blocks, I identified that I feel social at that time, so it could be a good time to socialize. And then I'm going to do dishes. And then, of course, my relaxation block from 9 to 11, I'm just going to watch TV, chill on the couch, maybe watch the Netflix show I was hoping to watch. I might think of what I'm wearing the next day, if that's important. And I might read a bit of a book before I go to sleep. You can also, at the bottom of your page, if you'd like to write down your meals for that day, I'm writing down that my breakfast is eggs, my lunch is grilled cheese, and that my supper is chicken, rice, and veggies. You're free to do that. If you have to go and do an errand or shop for something, you could write that on this page as well. And you could also add any other notes you may want to remind yourself of. So that is your block schedule for one day in the week. And as you can see, it's a great way to get yourself organized and figure out how can I achieve my intentions for the week. And of course, then what I'll do is I'll take this as a template and I'll just recreate it for the rest of the week. This can also easily be made in Google Docs or Microsoft Word as a table, as a chart you can just fill in. And of course, you can change it to adapt however you'd like. Right now, what I'm doing is crossing off things I've done, which is super satisfying. So as you go through your day, you can take that opportunity to cross off things as you accomplish them. I'm also going to look back at my to-do list because throughout the week, you're going to accomplish those tasks. So it's good just to make sure that your to-do list is matching and keeping up with your daily schedule. Oh, I didn't get to vacuuming. That will have to move to another day. And that's it. You can adapt this system to your work schedule, your school schedule. Really, you can change it up to suit your priorities and responsibilities no matter what they are. This system also works on any calendar app or online organizational tool. It's flexible and adaptable to your needs. Now, I'm going to introduce you to one more visual organizational tool, but this time one that can help you track something, such as a goal or your state of mind. Let's have a look. So we are going to learn about something called a visual goal tracker. It just means that you're using creativity and color to help you track the progress of a goal. So for our example, our goal is to drink 4 glasses of water each day for the month of July. So I set up a grid ahead of time on regular paper, and what I'm going to do is every day that I meet that goal of 4 glasses of water, I'm going to fill in a square with a marker. And you could have this in any color, you could make the grid look different, you could track it whatever way feels good to you. But basically what it does is that as the month goes on, you can see the days that you achieved your goal and the days you didn't. So this week, the second week on my schedule, doing a bit better. And then I'll notice as I go through the month, the entire grid starts to be filled in, which lets me look back, feel proud of myself, and know that I have achieved that goal. And that by the end of the month, I was drinking those 4 glasses of water each day. And then if you wanted, you could write a little reflection on how you feel after having achieved that goal. The other thing you can do with markers and pens and paper is to track feelings or your state of mind. So this is a bit more of a creative way. And so here I've listed out feelings like anxiety, tranquility, energy, sadness, anger, or hurt, and I've assigned them a color. And what I'm going to do is, instead of doing a grid or something very linear, every day I'm going to add a petal to a flower because that's an image that I like. And then however I was feeling that day upon reflection, I'm going to color it in that color. So, with this first red one, I was having maybe a very anxious day. And then the next day, I'm going to draw another petal on the flower, and I'm going to look back at my list and think about my day and say, you know what, I was actually feeling, pretty calm today. It was a different day. And then the next day, I'm going to repeat the same process. I'm going to take a minute at the end of my day, reflect on how I feel, what happened that day, and give it a color. And then what's going to happen is as the month goes on, you have a visual representation of the ups and downs of your emotions, and it might give you some better insight into, how am I feeling? What kinds of experiences, people, and activities affect how I'm feeling? And then as you go forward, you might start to see patterns. You might say, oh wow, whatever I'm doing on the weekends is really triggering me, or whatever changes I've made are really working. So you can see I sort of fast forwarded through to what the rest of the month might look like. And you'll see that there are some pockets of, anxious feelings, but then also some pockets of energy and happiness. And then, the petals move outward and it becomes just a really beautiful piece of visual art that's really satisfying to make, doesn't require any, fancy template, and lets me define and share my feelings for myself in the way that I want. And so when I look back at this, I can see, there were some pockets that were tough, but overall I had a really great month. All right, everyone, there you have it. 3 ways you can use paper, pens, pencils, or markers to organize your time, track and achieve your goals, and measure your personal progress. So as a reminder, we looked at creating a block schedule so you can tackle your to-do list and figure out how to fit in all of your priorities. We looked at a way to track a goal, such as a goal to drink 4 glasses of water a day, simply by creating a grid and coloring it in so that we see a visual representation of our progress. And lastly, something more creative and visual to track something like your mental health or your feelings. In this case, I created sort of a flower so that when I look back on the month, I can see, whoa, there was that bit of time when I was feeling anxious and on edge, but overall, I had an energetic and tranquil month. So now, here is your challenge. Pick any organizational method you saw in this video and try it out for 5 days. Then send us a video or picture of the organizational tool being used in action to be eligible for a badge and the leadership certificate. You can send us your challenge and answer the reflection question at the link in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We have new workshops every Tuesday and dance workshops every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. For more information, you can visit the website olishow.com. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.